Hello and welcome to another episode of Creators in the Cosmos. I'm V.
Jen?
Gay.
K or gay?
Yeah, it's on gay.
Both of them.
We're here with Gay K.
Uh-huh. And yeah, we're gonna talk about Pluto today because there's a lot of happenings in the sky. We are on like a very historic time in history. I have talked about this Pluto Capricorn thing so much across so many social media things, but we are literally actually in the last thread of Pluto being in Capricorn, and it goes to Aquarius for what I believe is 35 years.
I thought it was 20.
20. Yeah, that's
But either way, I mean, we're going to be like 50. So,
it's wild. It's a wild.
Oh no.
So we thought we would talk about Pluto as an energy, explain what it has felt like for us to have Pluto in Capricorn. So you definitely want to pull up your birth chart and see what house Capricorn lands in for you, because we'll do a little
Capricorn.
reflection and then we can talk about what's coming.
So as we're recording this, Capricorn Pluto is like officially ending today. It's like literally about to shift into Aquarius as we record this. You guys are listening to it after a couple days into Pluto Aquarius.
And yeah, we've had it in Aquarius a couple times, but it keeps retrograding back. But this time it's an official direct. So yeah, things to say. So I'll talk about the energy of Pluto a little bit, and then we can talk about how it's felt in Capricorn. But Pluto in a birth chart, whenever I do like a professional reading, Pluto is where I know I'm going to be able to find someone's like weaker, shadowy points. I feel like Pluto gives like Phoenix energy. So it starts off teaching you things in like the most abrupt and hard way. And then I do think you eventually get humbled. But unlike Saturn, that I think like wants you to crawl out of hardship with like hard lessons and like climb your way to like learning how to put work into something, Pluto just fucks your life up real quick. It's
Wrecking ball
not so
energy.
subtle. Not so subtle. It doesn't have the patience of Saturn. Like Saturn wants you to like be raised a like hardworking person in the end in that area of your life. Pluto just catalyzes like death cycles, rebirth cycles, death cycles, rebirth cycles. So wherever Pluto is, you want to look and see if it's aspecting any planet in your birth chart, if it's next to any planet in your birth chart, what house it's in, and then what sign it's in is going to be very similar to your peers. So most people probably listening to this podcast are going to have Pluto in Scorpio. Gen Z falls into Pluto Sagittarius, but Pluto lumps like a big generational energy together. So that is also why like Pluto just like rules such a bigger cycle than just us, which is why I think it like doesn't have time for your pettiness. Pluto, rebirth energy, lots of intensity, lots of big lessons. I will explain my Pluto Capricorn energy. Well, I guess, do you want to talk about our birth chart Plutos first? I think
Yeah,
that's
let's do
fun.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to start us off, Kate? Because yours is perfect because I feel like I'm very excited to see Pluto shift out of where it's been for you. So where has it started? Because in your birth chart, Pluto's a fun character.
Um, has been in my 7th house.
Mm-hmm. But you were born with it in your
Oh, yeah. I was born with it in my 5th. So,
let's talk about it. Okay, is Pluto fifth house? Any Pluto in the fifth house, any listener of Pluto in the fifth house, you guys get real freaky. And I think the best channel to not near death, like romantic experiences or hard drugs, is intense divination and witchcraft. That's the only way out. That's the only way out. That's my conclusion. How does it feel?
well, I am a very powerful witch of the dark capacity. Um, it is natural, very, very natural.
Loves really dark subject matters and hobbies.
My Kindle list is private.
Will not be shared.
will not be shared.
Will get flagged.
No, literally, like they might strike this down.
Exactly.
And when asked about my interests in anything seemingly occult, it's usually an astounding grasping of the pearls.
And you have gone through so much rebirth lessons around pleasure, romance, play, sometimes lean a little too dark, some
Never.
spirally.
It's very, very tornado-esque. Like I'm the cow spun around for cinematic value, and I may or may not have hit the barn a few times.
Yeah, right. I have done multiple chart readings on Pluto fifth housers, like having to claw out of some pretty heavy like addiction patterns because the fifth house is like fun Leo playhouse, and then you put Pluto there, it changes the tone. It does.
Well, on the plus side, guys, is I can say my ADHD and prescription hard drug saved me from needing to participate in any recreational hard drugs.
I think it's amazing too, because you really have at least like as you've had to be humbled by your lessons, I also think you have chosen to work with the deities. And, you've made peace with that dark side in a way, at least, that gives it some semblance of balance where you don't want to. I mean, that internal energy of Pluto, wherever it is so loud that fighting it is hard. So you have to find a way to like deal with that intensity.
It took everything in me today to not put someone in a jar.
Yeah, I love that. What a hobby,
Casual days with Kay.
Another real amazing presentation of Pluto is
Oh my
V's
gosh.
chart.
Okay, so I'm going to end up making a little TikTok for us about it, but when you said made Kay move back to where like Pluto was in her childhood, I moved mine and my whole fucking life makes sense. Well, I started with Pluto in my first house.
12th.
No?
Pluto Scorpio.
Okay. I guess I did start my life in Pluto Scorpio, but it was at the ass end. I literally got through 3 months of my life was Pluto Scorpio.
But Pluto in the 12th house for V has equaled having the most intense subconscious to unpack. Multiple people, multiple layers, Hades in their bedroom, really, really crazy travel dreams. Pluto in the 12th house has not been so cash.
Okay, that's fair, but I feel like Pluto in the 12th house is me, is my life, is something that carries with me so much that like I just almost don't even recognize her until you point her out all the time because my North Node is also in Scorpio in my 12th house. So like a lot of these subconscious things are like helping me like move towards what I'm supposed to be doing in this life.
Powerful channeler. Also, wild presentation for Pluto 12th house.
Thanks. I like to do things different.
Yeah, and then it snuck into your first.
Yeah, then it very quickly, 3 months into this gig, decided let's go first house, Sagittarius. My childhood, Sagittarian, enough said. First house, sense of self. Hello, DID. How are you doing?
It's Pluto going through 12th and first. Like it's
immediately. Okay, I guess I hear you. Yeah, because like it's always like the 12th house is always like holding my hand as the other ones are happening. Like it's just not going away. So I've just kind of accepted it as it is. Now you shift into Pluto Capricorn, which is my second house. This is where I'm like early college up until now. And I need you to know that like that's been the entire time. Everything makes sense now. Scorpio, Pluto, 12th house, everything makes sense to me. Subconsciously, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I get so many messages all the time. I don't have to doubt that part of myself. Pluto Sag shift into Pluto Capricorn is when I got kicked out of my house. It's when I started my adulthood, which I was a homeless teen, not to like be sad on Maine, but it's just facts. So I started
poor
as
value system.
Yeah, poor value systems. I had like no material goods. I had no stable sense of structure in any form. So as like an adolescent adult, I was like trying to figure out how to do this shit all on my own. And I think I've done good. Honestly, like giving myself grace for the end of this period. Like, I have found a way to make it work for me, but I cannot tell you how many times I got this close to like finding like that like material stability in my life, and it just gets yanked away from me at all times. I talk to Jen about this all the time. I feel like, hey, I've talked to you about this a ton, like, and it frustrates the hell out of me. It's just been Pluto Capricorn this whole time.
Yeah, and Pluto in the second house. So that's the house
Yeah.
of material possessions, money, how your self-worth, how you make a way for yourself. So
And with that
Nice.
being said, like those last couple years, which we all know have been super funky fresh for me, it's been conjunct my Uranus and my Neptune.
Which is going to be for most of us
And it's
with
been real weird.
Yeah, our group, like I feel like within a generation, a lot of us are having the same Uranus and Neptune travel very slowly, so they lump us into generations too. So this Pluto Capricorn crew has also very much been tied to our Neptune and your Uranus.
Absolutely.
So, but I'll do my Pluto birth chart, and then yeah, that's a very good thought process too, because I haven't quite thought about
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
the fact that Pluto also, I haven't processed that Pluto Sag was kind of like my teen into adult years. So that's something to think about.
Very Sagittarian.
Yeah. So for me, I was born with Pluto in the third house. The third house is the house of communication, but it's also like your immediate environment and how you learn from it. And then that's how you speak and how you think and how you process information. So I went through so many layers of hell in my immediate environment and how I was raised to think, like tons of religion trauma. Um, I feel like I had so many wounds around using my voice, but I also think my thinking pattern changed so often because of just Pluto being there and having like my parents be like, this is the way you need to think. And me being like, I don't know. It doesn't all math to me. But then I was very controlled in that way. So it definitely gave like the death and rebirth cycle. For sure. And then yeah, for my little crew, the Saturn Aquarius crew that's like in their early 30s, we all had Pluto square Saturn when we were born. And that gave some power and control lessons that like there's thousands of stories. So that's just been a fun little sprinkle of that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going into your third house in Aquarius. So have fun with the overthinking.
I don't know
My
what you're
left.
talking about.
But you do. Yeah, so wherever Pluto is, definitely worth like thinking about what has happened since 2008 because we are officially closing a door of Capricorn, Pluto. And I think for me, reflecting, I'm on a very different journey. My Pluto in Capricorn lands in my fifth house. Pluto's been aspecting my fifth house. So where yours was, you started and were born with, okay, I've had it going through there. And I would say I've learned so much about what actually makes me feel good. And I don't think I would have stood up for my like pleasure and creativity without a lot of the lessons that I've learned. But it also has been freaking intense. I've gone through so much death cycles in that area of life. So talk about your Pluto Capricorn in the seventh house, Cancer rising.
Cancer rising is crying.
I love you, Cancer rising.
It has been absolutely horrendous since about, how old am I now?
29.
For 10 years. Every relationship has been traumatic. And honestly, some people think I'm being exaggerative. No, it has been every relationship has been abusive in some way.
When I see Pluto in the seventh house in people's birth charts, I'm just like, okay.
Talk about really deconstructing and wrecking ball what you think your romantic relationships should be, especially with like my descendant on that, my Uranus and my Neptune. So my little My little slow moving babies.
I think it's made us a little extra delusional. Our little group has had a little sprinkle with Pluto going over that. I think it's been like a boundaryless journey, so it's had to go a little bit more shadowy, I think, than it needed to.
And Jen knows my trauma from my chart, and V knows my trauma from just existing with me.
Right. Uh-huh.
Needless to say, I was destined to not choose good partners for these 10 years.
Uh-huh. It's leaving.
21.
What is gonna happen? Are you so excited? What a
Um, I'm excited for the downfall of society.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna definitely talk about it. V, tell us about how it's felt for you.
Hey, I feel like I did a good review of my cap. I did.
Mhm.
Yeah, sorry. That was like in the moment processing TED Talk. I needed someone to know before it left me.
Yeah.
You
So
did great.
I can give like a couple little layers. Like I went on such a deep dive for a PowerPoint night party that we had going into Pluto and Capricorn through history. And when I tell you that Christianity has been the sprinkle that keeps on giving right in the final lessons, like it's so frustrating to actually see like some power hungry man, Cap Daddy, comes in and tries to take control and like kind of respins some form of religion jargon in the middle of Pluto Capricorn since like Roman Empire days. Like the cycle is crazy. It actually made me a little sick because now we have election results and we didn't when I did my PowerPoint night and we know what happened. And like when you look in history, and see, I mean, not that we don't now really clearly see the problem, I think is like a bigger collective, but my God, has this fucking pattern repeated itself, truly. So, yeah, a lot of religion is tied into Capricorn because it is a structure system, it's traditions, and it exists within like bigger society. So, religion is very blended into that because a lot of it was like trying to pass down something that led to like a community closeness. But I think it just got really shadowy with that Pluto undertone. And then usually Pluto Aquarius through history, which is where we're walking into, has a lot of energy of like letting intellect win and like knowledge finally being like catalyzed and understood by a bigger mass, like collective. And it gets better in Pluto Aquarius for sure. Like you can see that in history, it cleans itself up. But I'm also really annoyed that we are kind of repeating what I saw with the Pluto Capricorn on a loop. That's all I want to say.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
actually, that's so crazy. That's what my brain was processing over here. Is so my notes were what my brain was thinking about is how during Pluto Sag, like for our generation especially, like because we've been talking about it a lot lately, I think amongst the three of us, if I'm being honest, how like we read so many dystopian novels growing up, and it's really like uncomfortably surreal to be very aware in this three-dimensional timeline sometimes because of everything we read and how it parallels. But with that being said, during Pluto Sagittarius, for our generation, the world seemed like it was always ending. It felt really chaotic, but also delusionally optimistic in the dissociative way, which is like shadow side of Sag,
Mm-hmm.
as a Sag rising. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the internet, I feel like during that time frame too, like wasn't only developed, but that's when we started actually seeing them in like homes, which then gave us a way to communicate with many different cultures. This is where cultural awareness started to come in, and we started to like ease our shit a little bit. Not enough, but a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Pluto Cap, the only ones I got, which I mean, you already covered some of the historical ones, but onto like repeating cycles. Um, Instead of the world physically ending, like we heard all throughout Pluto Sag, the world ended by like stock market crash,
Pandemic.
pandemic, the world did end. It's just no one wants to talk about it. But then also this was the rise of hustle culture. Like now we're to the point where you can't even have a social media without like or doing anything, if I'm being honest, without feeling like you have to capitalize off of it. And then with all that being said, though, it does give me hope moving into Pluto Aquarius. Why do you say no? Can you tell me why I shouldn't be optimistic? Ready, set, go.
I feel that I feel like we are in an endless time loop because we can't break down some of this shit. Like that, I was just looking at it and going like, how is this kind of the same story?
It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's just gonna be rainbows and butterflies tomorrow. Like, I'm not that delulu, but I'm saying at the tail end of it, okay?
Yeah, but like
I think if we actually
I'm
that's
very mad
18
about the
years from
election.
now.
Not well.
Aquarius is all about community. Okay, so like shit's gonna get bad. The ones that thrived on Pluto Capricorn are going to have their fall. And I feel like the ones of us who do resonate more with that Aquarian community have been more and more like fucking over it. You know what I mean? So like I just have hope that by the end of, and I know we'll be like fucking 50, and maybe we don't learn because we're a really dumb fucking species. You know? But I would like to have some hope because live, laugh, lobotomy.
Thank you, Jupiter Sag.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll give you the dates of Pluto Capricorn if you want to do any deep dive. Like Pluto was in Capricorn from 1515 to 1532, 1762 to 1788, and then 2008 till current. And then, yeah, if you want to study up on Pluto and Aquarius, I'll give you a few little nuggets from research. But Pluto and Aquarius, 1532 to 1553, 1778 to 1797. And then now we have it from 2024 until 2044, with a few retrogrades, I think, in there. What I saw when I studied up on a lot of historical stuff in Pluto and Aquarius, um, Indigenous rights were a huge thing. And here we are again, having to refight the fight for them. And I'm so fucking sorry this keeps repeating on an endless loop. Lordy. I do think that yeah, lots of language and religion oppression being lifted. There was a big change in the Roman Catholic Church that I was studying up on that shifted a lot. The scientific revolution began. The French Revolution began as a women's march, as we go into a women's march again because we lost our rights again. Revolutionary War was declared. Age of Enlightenment is found in this time, and the Industrial Revolution was also in this time. The other like really wild one, I looked even further back than the dates I gave, and from 303 to 330, it was also the first time that people started shifting us from like worshiping goddesses to like a singular god, all kind of played out between the Capricorn to Aquarius. So it's wild.
Can I add to your fun facts
You
list?
can.
Because I have some too. So other things that have happened during historical Pluto Aquarius times is in the 1500s we had the scientific renaissance. This is when we decided that the sun was the center of our universe and not Earth. So, you know, that's pretty big. Okay, that's big brain energy at least. In the 1700s, the American Revolution was declared and independence was declared and the war was finally ended. We also, like Jen mentioned, had the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, and even in current modern times, because we've had a little baby bit of Pluto Aquarius already. We had decentralization of power. We had a technological revolution with AI and biotechnology. Green energy could also help reshape society. And then it says global unity versus fragmentation. And I feel like Aquarius is much more unity. And the only reason it's been the fragmentation feels so fucking loud right now is because we shifted back into Pluto Cap. But that ends today. I'm not saying we're not on an endless loop. Like the stars are the stars, but this is just our generation's version. And I know it's not going to be pretty in the beginning, but what's going to be so important moving into Pluto and Aquarius is the community. Like that is the message I've been getting in almost every single reading is community, and that's giving Pluto Aquarius. Okay, I'm done. You can go.
Yeah. I will hope for the best with it. I've been very excited for Pluto and Aquarius time. I'm also like deeply not okay from the election results and the fact that we just doubled down on what we did, but who knows what'll happen with that. Aquarius for me is in my 6th house, and it's funny because I was born with Saturn in Aquarius, and I feel like right after my Saturn return, I got a little break, and now Pluto's going in, which is so fun for me. That energy, that 6th house energy, is all about mind, body, spirit healing. I do think when Pluto aspects a chart, you're being called to like kind of a bigger energy around that area. So I hope I can help continue to help people in that area. I hope it doesn't completely spiral my mental and physical health because starting off real strong right now. That's all I got to say.
There does have to be a shift in power. There has to be a letting go in order. I just had a rebirth summer, so, you know.
Yeah. And Aquarius will be going into your 3rd.
Yeah, my 3rd house, house of communication. I feel like I've already had like during that Pluto Aquarius stint. Yeah, no, I felt it. That's when the divorce was initiated, but I also was utilizing my boundaries like so strongly and confidently. And like I feel like I've already been healing some of those wounds leading up to this. So I, in a personal note, feel really good too. I love Aquarius energy. So maybe I'm just hopefully optimistic because I live with a 12th house Pluto. So 3rd house doesn't feel that scary to me.
Aquarius moon, how do you feel about Pluto tapping that thing for?
I unfortunately am going to take the pessimistic view,
We got
which
nothing.
like more power to everyone who's feeling very optimistic. The optimism is going to be on the tail end, especially where it lands for me, but that's okay. Pluto's gonna be entering my 8th house that holds my Aquarius moon.
Big signs: Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio. Pluto's gonna be making a little buzz.
So I'm very fixed sign heavy if you guys listened to 2 pods ago. And the way that Pluto is going to hit all the fixed signs is gonna really like a hammer to the fucking head. Because fixed signs are going to have to lead this initiative, this age of Aquarius and Pluto. And if you know fixed signs,
don't want to do. We don't want to.
we don't want to.
I'm a Leo moon, so Pluto's opposing for me, and then it's going to be conjunct with K. So K and I are going to be having a real good time.
But you know, it's all in growth. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I would definitely say that like in I think it was 2023 we shifted into the age of Aquarius anyways. As far as like the overall astrology, we were in the age of Capricorn for a long time. Since then, we clearly have seen a whole bunch of beautiful, wonderful things happening, and there is a sense of community. But the thing with Pluto hitting that innovative energy is everything's going to have to be destroyed as you know it now. So you have to really wait for the downfall of society. Every single time that Pluto's been in Aquarius, we've been initiating the downfall of society and then picking up all the pieces and rebuilding. So honestly, for me, the next 20 years, it wouldn't surprise me if we have another civil war. It wouldn't surprise me if that is more of like a homeland battle for America, because I don't know if we've looked at America's chart lately, but it's not cute.
Mm-hmm.
Jen was that was from a PowerPoint where she did America's astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, like V said earlier, it's giving like we read all of these dystopic books. We studied them. The Hunger Games, Handmaid's Tale. I think it was 1984 was the book. It was a yearbook of Mice and Men. Like all of these deeply like riveting books that just tear you limb from limb. Like this is exactly just the precursor. When people were joking like, "Oh, I feel like when these were written in the 80s, they were writing about the future of society." No, they literally were.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to tell us something, and we clearly didn't fucking listen.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, there's like dismantling old hierarchies and like, you know, Cappies get a break.
Yeah, and Aquarius like really wants everyone's uniqueness and weirdness and like eccentric selves to have room, but we are so I think a lot of us have learned that individually a lot, like a lot more. We know how to like the fact that TikTok has been what it has been, like the unhinged, like getting rewarded when that used to just never be like open and in public. Like we've come a long way with some Aquarius undertones, but it's also Pluto is going to have to death and rebirth cycle it so that, you know, we just had the election results of the US double down on opposite of freedom for individual expression. So clearly there is still a lot of work to be done, and it's going to take everyone knowing how to step into that Aquarius power to get there. So
Yeah, our choices, by the way, speaking of America's birth chart, that's not how you pass your Chiron return, guys. Should we just talk about America's birth chart next week? Can that be the topic?
Sure. I
Like,
wouldn't be surprised if America's empire falls
yeah,
again
no,
within.
that's
this
the
was
vibes.
the
I'm not
first.
delusional enough not to see that like there is gonna be that shit, but like I'm a mutable air. I know you guys are more fixed, so I get it, but like I don't know. My air, which is mutable, is feeling very optimistic.
Um,
Good for
yeah,
you.
I love
Pluto
change. I love it.
Pluto was the US is a Pluto Capricorn. It takes 250 years for Pluto to come back to where it was, and we literally just had our Pluto return as the US. It's not going to happen again for a very long time, and that was how we just wrapped it up. So
Stellar. Anything else for Pluto Aquarius?
I just think look to where Aquarius is in your chart. Learn that house really well. See if you have any planets in Aquarius and Leo and the Aquarius and Leo people. This is going to be a big shift, so I would just really try to like stay grounded with it, know that a lot is going to be shifting and moving, and do the best you can. I have a Leo moon, first degree. Aquarius Pluto is at 1 degree, and what it feels like is bad, really really bad, like
It doesn't feel
heavy
good.
heavy
Jen is
intensity.
unwell.
I have to feel emotions in an intensity level that has never been on my radar before. And I have done a lot of healing work, and it feels like someone cranked up the volume to 1,000, put it in a lockbox, and they're like, let's see what happens. That's what it feels like in my brain.
Jen gets the beginning of it and then I get the end of it. So
You know what? With your moon, what was it? 2020?
26.
Oh, wait, yeah, the 26th degree, my moon in Aquarius in the eighth
That's
house.
also a really good point is my Aquarius and my Leo houses are completely empty outside of my vertex,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't like that. That's oh, okay. I love you too.
Uh-huh.
I mean that with love.
I know.
But I think what you said is real, Kay, that it is gonna be like us trailblazing a lot of it because Aquarius, between Saturn going through that right before it was just in Pisces, And yeah, if you have a personal planet in that, you've probably already done some work around that energy anyway. So Pluto is just going to come make sure that we do what we set out here to do. And I think this is a big part of your soul's contract. Wherever Aquarius is, this is a big chunk of life. You only get a couple signs where Pluto is going to be intervening in your lifetime. So it's very, very worth reflecting on what's happened and then like really trying to track what goes on as we enter into this until 2040.
Okay. Well, you know what? You guys have convinced me.
That's my job as an Aquarius moon. It's gonna get weird, and then it's gonna get even weirder.
I'm excited for the weird. I like weird. I know it's not gonna be great weird, but like if I have to be here, damn it.
Think of a flamethrower and like a field. And like the way that you have to blaze the trail as the Aquarius is you take the flamethrower just directly forward. That's now your path.
Yeah. Yeah. Pluto doesn't let you second guess it. So if anything, it's doing exactly what it needs to do, whether you like it or not. Like Pluto
And double
isn't
down.
one to, like dig your heels in. Like it's not.
It's 10 toes
Maybe
down.
I'm just delusional enough to think Pluto and I are friends because
it's in your subconscious.
yeah, it's in my
already.
subconscious.
But you
I
are.
literally
And
work with Hades. Like
I would agree. Your North Node is with Pluto. You get Pluto energy. It's deeper.
we're besties. I love them. They love me.
I mean,
Daddy Saturn's way meaner to me. I love you, but you are mean to me, and that's okay.
I'm honestly right now I'm chilling in Saturn. So
oh man, so much fun. But yeah, we can deep dive into US birth chart, do some reflection, and happy Pluto Aquarius, literally officially.
All of our Instagrams are linked down below if you want more of any one of us, or if you want just more creators in the cosmos, that's also linked down below. Kayla, what you got for the peeps?
well, guys, I'm opening my shop back up. So when you go to the link tree in my bio here, my Etsy, Luna's Divinity on Facebook and Etsy will be coming alive again.
And that is also linked in all the creators' bios too.
I continue to do chart readings, energy work, yoga privates through sensefulwellness.com. I also have a membership available with video library, community conversation, and live events and workshops. And that's also at sensefulwellness.com. So we'd love to have you in our community. V helps moderate it.
Yeah, come chat with us on Discord. Okay, you should join.
Yes.
I have bandanas available on sensefulwellness.com because Jen finally didn't let me put it off anymore and she just did it herself.
V makes the coolest handmade projects, and yes,
I love Not Magic. So if you want some pretty dope veils or even have a couple yoga mat bags that I have created, check it out on sensefulwellness.com. As always, all of our links are exactly where they need to be. We love you guys, and we will see you next Friday. Bye.
Bye.